Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a furniture and thrift flip makeover, and the paint that I'm going to be using for all of these projects is from DWIL paint. I will talk about them in a little bit. Let's get started on these projects. The first one is going to be the furniture makeover. So I grabbed this piece from the thrift store a while ago, and I was holding on to it because I knew that I wanted to do something with it, but I wasn't quite sure on the color. And when DWIL reached out to me and I looked at their colors, there was a certain green that they had that I was like, this is going to look beautiful on it. And I'm so happy that I went with it. So I am going to be going for a two-toned look, and I'm going to sand down the top portion of this table. Now the top portion is like a wood veneer. It's not like a hardwood, so I wanted to be very careful with my sander, and I only had to use a 180 and then a 220 grit sanding pad. So like I said, I was just very careful, and it was amazing how quick and easy the like the top coat and the stain came off of this piece. I was actually really shocked. I did not do the edges of the top portion. That was not real wood. I could tell from an area that was chipped. So because that wasn't real wood, that's why or even a veneer, I'm not quite sure what the material was. That's why I didn't sand that down. So the part you see here is the only part that I sanded down because I could tell that that was like a wood veneer and it would stain really nice. And there were like zero imperfections on it. It was a really beautiful piece. Like this top portion was a really beautiful piece. So like I said, I did 180 and then I followed it up with 220. And then once that was done, I was going back and forth with this drawer, and I decided to remove this molding that was around it. It was not real wood either. I'm not sure what type of material it was, but it was really gummy and it was really sticky, which is another reason why I wanted to see if I could remove it, because it was so sticky, I wasn't sure even if I cleaned it properly how the paint would adhere to it. So I ended up removing it, and it was really easy to remove. It was just tacked into place. Thankfully, there wasn't any wood glue. I did sand this down with 180 as well as 220. Actually, I may have gone 120. I started with 120 to kind of get it going, and then I went to 180, and then I went to 220. And I didn't sand it down fully like I did the top portion because of when I did pull back some of the wood grain had kind of come up with it, and it wasn't going to stain nice because I wasn't gonna be able to get it to sand properly. So I am gonna fill those areas in with the Durham water, or the Durham putty. I haven't used it a lot. I've only used it a couple times, and it took me a little while to get the consistency that I was looking for to create a good paste. So I started with a little bit of the powder, I added some water, and I went back and forth. Once I got the consistency that I wanted, I'm just using this like craft stick, and I am applying it all over the areas that I want to cover. I'm going to let it sit. I end up letting this sit overnight, and then I'm going to sand it down so that it's nice and smooth so that I can apply paint to the drawer. So while that's drying, I did give this table, I wiped it down really, really good, and then I'm using shellac. So I do 2 good coats of the shellac. I was not sure if there was going to be any bleed through. When I was cleaning it, there wasn't too much residue coming off, but just to ensure that I didn't have any problems, I shellacked it. So this paint, DWIL paint, is basically it's an all-in-one paint. You do not need to use primer, you don't need to sand beforehand, and it has a protective like film or coating built into it, and it comes with this really great kit. So any color that you choose, you will get this kit, and it has tape. It has this perfect roller, and the rolling um, brush like pad itself. It comes with a paintbrush, it comes with a stir, it comes with gloves, and it comes with like a masking film as well. So where I taped off the top portion, I could have used the film that they provided, but I didn't realize that the film was in there um, before I started. And there also is a couple sanding pads right here too that they provide, which is really nice. So they pretty much give everything that you would need for a project, which is great. And you get a lot of paint. This is I didn't even use half of it, and I have so much more to go, and I'm really, really excited because I love this color. So because there is not, it's not required to use the, you don't need to sand it, you don't need primer. I did shellac it, like I said, because I just didn't want to have to worry with any bleed through. So I did shellac it, but other than that, I didn't do any other type of primer, and I just get to painting. I did not do any scuff sanding like I've done in the past. I really wanted to try and see how this paint worked. Sorry for trigger. So I'm going to give it one good coat. I do end up switching brushes. There was nothing wrong with the brush. It was a little softer than I'm used to for painting, but the brush itself was fine. But I just went to one of my normal brushes that I like to use, so I just went with that one. Like I said, I am giving this one good coat, and I noticed that it dries really, really fast, which is great because by the time I was done painting this entire thing, I could I could start on the second coat if I wanted to because it dried so fast, which was great. So this is awesome if you are impatient like myself, but also if you like to flip furniture for profit, it is great because there's not a lot of waiting for paint to dry, which is usually the worst part is waiting for paint to dry. So I really did like how fast that it dried. It had fairly good coverage. I did have to do two coats, but I only had to do two coats and then it was done. So it did have good coverage for the most part. Um, it went on really smooth and evenly. And the best part about this, I think, is how it dried. And I can't wait to show how it dried, which is coming up here in a few minutes or a few clips. But this is after the first coat. So some areas had good coverage, some areas not as much. It could have also been how I brushed it, but I did want to share with you what this looked like after one coat. And you can already see how it is drying. Like the finish has this beautiful sheen to it, and it did darken as it dried, which was great too because more of a dark I wanted a darker color. So you can see for the second coat, it is definitely a lighter green, but it dries darker. And I will note I am using the color that I chose is olive green. So I do the second coat and I let it fully dry. And again, I will share what it looks like after the second coat, and the sheen that it has is really, really nice. Like I said, that's my favorite part about this paint is how it dries. And here it is, the second coat. Um, I am not distressing this piece. I think it looks so beautiful as it is. Um, the finish and everything. And because it has the built-in sealer, I was not I did not do a clear coat on the sides. I really, like I said, wanted to give this piece, try the paint like I'm supposed to. And I've nicked it a couple times and it hasn't chipped. So I'm really hopeful that it will stay like that. But I do remove the top portion once everything is fully dried, and I am going to stain it. So for the stain, I went back and forth with what color I wanted to do. I ended up settling on, now I can't remember the stain that I picked. I believe this is honey. I went with honey. Yes, that's right. I was torn between honey and espresso, but the espresso was a little too dark, so I thought that this medium toned color would complement the green really well. So I did honey. I did one coat. I wiped back the excess of the stain. I let it dry for a good 24 hours before I did the top coat for above the stain. And when it came to the top coat, I'm going to be using the Minwax polycrylic, and I'm using it's like the matte or ultra matte finish. That's the stain or finish option that I am using, and I do 3 coats of the polycrylic because I am assuming this is going to be used as an end table, and if any water or condensation gets on it, I'm going for as much protection as I can. So when I do apply the polycrylic, I I was very careful to try and not get any of the polycrylic on um, the green rim. As you can see, I was wiping it back, but I ended up just putting 1 coat of the polycrylic on top of it, just because some areas had started to dry where I couldn't wipe it off. If you can see, like in the bottom left corner, part of the polycrylic got onto the rim portion and I didn't wipe it back in time. So I ended up just doing 1 coat of the polycrylic around the rim, and it really actually almost kind of blended in. It turned out really nice. It wasn't obvious that I had the polycrylic on the rim and I didn't have it anywhere else on the paint portion. So I was really happy about that as well. But like I said, I did 3 coats and I let it fully dry. I want to take a minute and also let everyone know that if you're interested in trying this paint, I do have a coupon code for you. I will leave the link in the description, and the coupon code is WWNC30 for 30% off. I will leave it here on the screen and I will leave it in the description box for you as well. They have a ton of colors to choose from, and it is 30% off the kit that you order. So definitely give them a shot. It is great, and it's great for crafting too, which I will show you in the next 2 projects. And then I'm just going to use this black resin paint to paint the feet. The brass just was not working, or the gold, it just was not working with this once I finished it. So I do 2 coats. I let it sit. That also has a sealer in it, and I was good to go. I really hope you guys enjoy this one. So I know that this is furniture paint and that is how it is advertised, but I also wanted to try it on a couple craft items because I really like when I can get multiple uses out of things. And I will let you know, I was not disappointed with this paint at all for the 2 crafts that I tried it on. So this one is obviously a wood craft, and I grabbed this from the thrift store a long time ago, but I had fall in mind because I could just see this filled with decorative pumpkins for display, and I was just waiting for the fall time. So I'm going to just paint the trim area with the green paint from DWIL, and then I'm going to stain the rest of it. And to stain the rest of it, I'm using Dark and Decrepit by DIY. I'm going to let this sit. Again, this paint dried really, really fast, and on top of it, the sheen of this paint when it dried was just like with the furniture. It just had such a nice finish to it. Now with this piece, I wanted to see how this paint would distress. So I did take it outside and I used my detail sander and I gave it a distress. I used 220 grit sandpaper. I just gave it a light distress. And again, it I think it worked. It looks great. The sheen really didn't change too much, which I really liked because I love the finish of it. And I think it distressed really nice and easy. And I will definitely be using it for other crafts. But I wanted to add a little fall decal to this, and I'm just going to tie it with some twine so that it can be easily removed, because once I painted this, I realized that this could work for Christmas time as well. So if someone wanted to use it for both seasons, they could easily remove the tag. So I hope you guys like this one, and you'll have to let me know what you guys think. Okay, for the second craft, I am picking something that is not wood. I really wanted to see how this paint was going to work on an item that was not wood. I thrifted this not too long ago, and I was kind of torn what color to do, but once I saw how this paint dried and how it looked and the color, I really wanted to try it on this piece. So I did give this a good clear coat of just a matte Rust-Oleum spray. I wasn't sure how how the paint was going to adhere to it. So that's why I did that. So I let that sit, and then I'm going to apply one coat. That's all I did. I applied one coat to this, and I thought I was going to have to apply a second coat, but I didn't. It dried so nice. It had really good coverage. There was no chipping, no flaking. And again, I know I've said this multiple times, but the finish of the paint when it dried, the sheen on it, it looked so nice. And to me, it had like a really high-end look to it. So I wanted to add a little bit of black wax to it. You can see this is after one coat, and I did not have to do a second coat, which I was really happy about. So I'm just adding black wax to the entire thing, and I'm wiping it back. I did not use any clear wax, like I thought I was gonna have to, first before I added the black wax. It the wax went on really nice and it came off really nice. Um, so I'm just going to do that to the entire thing. For the top portion of this, instead of just wiping the black wax across it, I just dabbed it all over the ends of it just to give it some dimension, and then that was it. That was how I sealed it. This piece was done. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I really did like this paint. I hope you guys give it a shot. Like I said, I do have a coupon code for you. I do not get anything for this, but they are offering a coupon, or they are offering 30% off to anyone that uses my coupon code. So it is 30% off. Again, I will leave it in the description for you. But I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I wanted to try this with not just furniture, and I really like how it worked on these crafts. And like I said, I hope you guys give it a shot. So please let me know in the comments what you all think. Let me know if you guys are going to give it a shot, and let me know if you guys like it or not. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please consider subscribing. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.